I was on an aeroplane once, and I was sitting next to a couple towards the end of the journey, because we were talking, you know, towards the end of the journey. He said, "Give us your glasses, I'll clean them for you."
Yeah. You tramp. Give me your glasses, you tramp.
I can't stand it anymore. Give me
Charming.
if you are that man, thanks. It's not funny though. It was just he couldn't bear it. He just he must have been one of those people that was so particular about
giving you dirty looks throughout the flight. Like,
it was ridiculous. They don't have a sweet that older couple. Yeah, he must have just thought, oh, I don't know.
Speaking of rude old people, I don't know whether I've told this before, but I was helping this old lady was getting onto a train, and you have to step up onto the train. She had a bag with her, and people were just walking past, and she couldn't lift it up. So I lifted it up for her, took it onto the train, and I put it in the little compartment bit. And she turns around and goes, "Thank you so much. You don't expect that kind of help from a thug."
No.
Yeah, I'm like, you old tosser.
Let's face it, you do look a little bit like a...
It is a common thing because I shaved my head, obviously. People just expect me to be walking around in my steel toe caps.
I think, you know what, once at a certain age, they kind of feel it's all right to just say whatever they like. I can't wait to get that old. It's going to be great.
Yeah. God, to be honest, I'm kind of there now.
I helped an old lady who had an old couple on the train. This was late at night. It was like the night train going back to Kent. And it was about 11 o'clock. They'd obviously been to the theatre in London. And, there was and I was with Isha. She was small and she was sleeping on me. And I can just see the woman it wasn't big. They'd chosen to stand up. I think they were getting off at the next stop. And I could just see the woman slide down at the end, she just slid down and like this. And it wasn't moving. Yeah, right. So I put Isha down nicely and went up there and said to them, is she all right? Is she all right? And she just was not moving. She wasn't moving. So I put her head on my lap and was trying to get someone to call for help. There's very few people on the train. It was so somebody called for help and they came round when the station stopped and, there was an ambulance waiting and all sorts, and she opened her eyes. This was 5 minutes. I'm thinking, God, some stranger's dying on my lap. And she opened her eyes. Maybe I shouldn't have had that second gin and tonic.
Just a drunken bum.
And she was they were really dapper, older, I don't know, in their 80s or whatever, couples. Just think, what was going on?
That's funny. That's funny.
No way. Good for her. You know what? When I'm that age, I want to be getting the train into London and drinking gin and tonic. Bloody hell, yeah.
I want to be getting trashed on the train.
No, it was a second one. I mean, then, obviously I felt like an idiot for calling the ambulance and everybody else. But you know what? What the hell?
You actually called the ambulance?
Well, I called to someone else who was sitting over there and she wasn't moving. She wasn't moving. She wasn't, I don't even know if she was breathing. I was panicking. I was like, so they obviously must have called, and the station guard was there and the ambulance was there. Oh, well. There you go. Isha, my daughter, slept all the way through.
Of course she did. How old was she?
8 or 9.
22. She was drunk as well. Did she listen? Does she listen to the podcast? Of course she doesn't.
No, do you know what? She actually does when I remind her. I think she puts it on in the background. I'm not sure I couldn't for sure say that she's listened to all of them.
She puts it on in the background and turns the phone down to silent so she doesn't have to listen to it. Just to play it for us. So it helps us out a little bit.
Does Nicola listen?
No, does she, Paul? She'd have picked me up now.
Well, exactly. No, you know what? I think
she would have audience just to be.
Yeah, she
probably would hook to the head.
Is this why you haven't ever given us her phone number, or
Absolutely, you're not getting in touch with her. Jesus. Speaking of the podcast, shall we get into it? Let's do it then.
In the Naked Coach Collective podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective. I'm Ian and we are interviewing our not a special guest. I keep saying that, but you're not a special guest. You just D. Just D.
Just D. Hello, everyone.
Did I say it right this time as well? Darshana.
Darshana.
Thank you.
Darshana.
For those that don't know, I've been getting D's name wrong this whole time. and I feel horrible about it.
You're a bit too hard on yourself. It's not wrong. You know, I've had, I can't tell you how many variations of pronunciation on my name I've had. So that answer to pretty much anything.
Well, I've been
Good.
called Dawn before.
Dawn.
Dawn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. In an email at work. Oh, thanks, Dawn. There's no Dawn even on the email thread.
Also, Ian, Dawn.
Yeah.
Odd. Very odd. Okay. So I'll call you Dawn from now on if I remember.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dawn.
So I just called her back. I just said, no problem, Steve. She wasn't.
I really get it.
She probably didn't. She was like, you called Steve.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you, Dee?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, feel good. Having a good day. It's been a good week. Busy, but good.
Busy but good. Nice.
Yeah, how are you?
Okay, yeah. We're going to do this. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Busy week, but yeah.
Thanks for doing this, by the way. I know you pulled a short straw.
Again, I choke, obviously. Okay, so let's get right into it then. So we're going to listen to Dee's story. So let's start off with what you did before becoming a coach and what got you into coaching. What was the moment that into coaching? If I don't wreck my microphone.
Okay, no, you're right. You sound good. So coaching is career number 4. I started out I was in retail management. So I managed a Wallace store, which is ladies' fashions. I don't even know if it's still going, but I ran the shop in Oxford Street in London. So I lived in London at the time. I lived in East London. No, I know. And I have to say, you don't appreciate it at the time of how cool that was. But looking back, having the London life in your keys, the keys to a store that, I might have gone in early after a late night at some point, who knows? It was a good job for a young person without any responsibilities and with family, etc., that sort of thing. And it was great. Had a lovely time. So, but it's not a forever career for me because once you start, getting married, having kids, that sort of thing, the hours and the travel become very, very prohibitive. So career number 2 was a business. So I set up a business in partnership with my sister, which was wonderful. It was a great, great time of learning and really finding that I had talents that were not being used yet, talking to big companies and getting partnerships, that sort of thing. It was a great time. So that was career number 2, and which turned into, I might have 5 careers because I'm going to call this, which turned into being mum to Isha, because as soon as she came along, the costs went up within the business because obviously things had to be done by other people and not myself. And then I decided to concentrate on being a full-time mum for a couple of years while she was little. So I was very lucky to be able to do that. But also, unfortunately, in that, things went wrong with the marriage. I got divorced. So now I was looking at a young child, single parent. Not that, I'm not that is what it is. It's not, I don't say that for any reason. It's just the way it was. And thinking about, well, do I restart the business and have I got that capacity, time, energy, and all of that to do that? Or do I think about what other things I can do? So I retrained to teach. So I was a teacher then for a fair few years, working in schools. But that didn't really, it was great. I loved it. I loved it. And I love working with the children. But I think when I'm trying to juggle the full-time schoolwork with full-time parenting, and also, I've always been a lifelong learner. So there's always a course or something on the go, so studying as well. There's a bit of burnout creeping in, and I felt I could feel myself knowing that, I can't leave at 7:00. I can't come back at 7:00 and let my young daughter, who is now probably 12, 13, get herself on the bus to school and get herself on the bus back and, organize herself for a few hours. This is not why I went into teaching, because I wanted to be more present for her, as well as have a fulfilling career. And it wasn't like that. It was just giving me stress on a hourly basis. And I just felt like I was letting her down because, as far as I was concerned, everything that she needed was it was my duty to provide. And yes, I have a great network, great family, and a lot of support. I was living in Kent at the time. It wasn't really logistically, so it wasn't a daily support thing. But yeah, so I've realized that the teaching wasn't something that I could maintain and do well and look after and bring up another person well. So that had to, something had to shift. So I took a few months off, for just 4 or 5 months off actually, because it wasn't easy, but I had to, because I had to recalibrate, and it was the only way. It was the only way to do it. That, I tell you what, that relief of not leaving for work and thinking about her getting herself ready and getting on the bus. And I know a lot of people have to do it. I know that a lot of people have to do it. That is what it is. And I'm sure they feel the same angst and guilt that I was feeling. So that was a big decision. Stop the teaching, and I just went in and did some private tutoring and worked with some international schools and still did the teacher work. And then I hit 50. She's all grown up, doesn't need me quite the same way. And I was having a conversation with somebody one day about, I want to do something different. What can I do? Where do my talents lie? Where do my interests lie? And coaching came up. And so what was this? Is this career number 4 or 5? I can't think now.
I've lost track.
I've lost track.
I mean, should we count being a full-time mum as a career, yeah?
Yeah, I think we should. I actually do, because I do. Because,
Absolutely.
it's not as if you're not even clocking on and clocking off, are you? So it's not even like that. So this coaching conversation came up, and I thought, what's coaching? I didn't really have too much of an idea. I thought it was like the Paul cousin to therapy and to medical interventions and that sort of thing. Yeah. So I looked into it, did some research, started thinking about, maybe I'll just take a little course and see if I like it. Not a big investment, just have a go, see how it feels. And I just loved it from day one. And then looked into learning more, started talking to a coach myself, had and got accredited, obviously, where I'm at U and the rest of the gang. So I got this accreditation with a recognised accrediting body, and it's good. I feel good. So I'm here. I'm staying. This is the last career move I'm making, and that's how I got into coaching.
Nice. Just a quick question. How old was you when you started your first business then with your sister?
I was 28. No, 28, 29.
Okay. So fairly young then for starting your own business.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? I was really on my own, because there were 2 of us, and obviously I've known my sister all my life, she's older than me. It wasn't quite as daunting as it could have been if I was just alone, doing it alone, and we both understand each other, and we both played to our strengths because we are different and we do have different strengths. So it worked well.
Hello.
Yeah.
Brave step though, I'd say.
Yeah, but you know what? At the time, it didn't feel that way. And all the steps, even retraining for teaching, even, taking a step back when I felt myself go, I think, all of those are pretty brave steps now you come to mention it. You have to do it, I mean, come on. It's not often one gets a chance to pat themselves on the back because they think about something, but actually, you know what? A lot of it has been led by survival. A lot of my, especially after divorce, there was a lot of survival in there, and I don't regret a single thing, because every step has been a push, and every time we push, you learn. So it's good.
Nice. So you saying you had a conversation with a friend and coaching came up, and you mentioned that you thought it was like therapy's poor cousin, or the poor cousin of therapy, I think you said. So what was kind of the point where you thought, wow, I really like this? What was that? Can you remember that moment, and what was it?
Interesting question. so I started researching what coaching was, and I looked into quite a few courses of varying prices, because obviously, as we've talked about on our shows before, there's a huge array of prices and courses and things available. And then just looking at, I watched YouTube videos and just started finding out, well, what is the power of coaching, and how can asking a question in a coaching capacity be different from just talking to your mates, over a cup of tea or whatever. And then watching some of these videos, you could see the transformations coming out. You can see how people have realizations. When you're listening, you think, yeah, of course, no problem. But when you're in that situation, you just don't. And it takes something to come out. And I realized that it's a different bag. Therapy, it's a different bag. Therapy maybe is looking backwards and trying to fix things from the past, and coaching, forward thinking. Yeah, you do need to touch on people's past, you do need to touch on it, but you're not fixing that so much. You're moving on, you're developing a strategy to cope and to deal with, so that you can progress forward with
Nice. And so what, how long have you been doing it now, and how's your journey been so far?
Yeah, it's coming up to 3 years. It's been up and down. Business is, it's another business basically. So where you're coaching, and 3 years from the conception, from the thought of, from getting on, not from, I got my accreditation in January 2 years ago. Actually, on my birthday. Yeah, the certificate's got my birthday on it, which is rather cool.
I knew you were going to say that there when you paused.
Oh, I got so excited about my birthday, and I
That's my...
question.
I
love it. You forgot it as well.
I forgot as well. No, that's it. Oh god. So as I said, how long have you been doing it, and how's your journey been so far?
Right, the journey has been great and hard and stressful and frustrating and wonderful and amazing and all those things all at the same time, because you're not just training to be a coach and practicing coaching and being involved in the coaching world. You are actually, next to that, trying to build a business and make a living out of it, because people don't just flock to you and say, oh yeah, coach me, here's some money,
If only.
right? And it doesn't happen.
Hello.
Oh yeah. No, so you have to, you're building a business, which that, and a lot of my previous experience has come into it, but the best part has been obviously the coaching practice, the coaching, being coached, coaching others, learning all of the frameworks, thinking about how I incorporate those into my how I work, and then doing the business side on the side as well, or in conjunction. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been like, whoa, overnight success, or I'm not even there. It takes, what they say, it takes like 6 years to be an overnight success. That's it's worth remembering. I think if anybody's aspiring to be coaches out there, I would definitely say you just have to stick with it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the power of what you're doing, and you have to believe in people. Everybody's different. Everyone you talk to is different. Every conversation is different, but you still have to start from a place of believing in them and their ability to change and know their own and wants and desires eventually, once you pull them out.
And so what kind of challenges have you come up against then on that journey that you've kind of overcome?
From a coaching perspective, it's not easy to remember things. Oh my goodness. I know this is a funny thing, right? But for me, I learned through doing. So, I learned through doing. So every time I learn something new, I try to get out there and practice it with people and talk to people and do stuff like that, because I can forget really easily. And I don't like to go on about age, but it is something that happens. Your memory's fine, but just retaining information just takes a little bit longer than when I was 20. So have to. It's not easy to keep revising stuff and bring it to mind when you need it. So the study part is ongoing all the time. The study part is always ongoing. Other challenges, obviously building the business from nothing, finding the right sort of support where you kind of feel, okay, so say, leave the coaching aside and think about the business perspective. So I think, okay, so for a business to run, I need to do this, this, and this, and this. And then to do all these things, you need to find support, help, teaching, courses, guidance, all that sort of stuff. Once you start looking, it's a mind build, don't you? There's like so many options. And you have to find the thing that's right for you and then believe in it and go for it. But then afterwards, I've found a few things that I took on as gospel, if you like, maybe aren't quite what they were. So, it's trial and error with the business, and you just keep going. And the thing is, you just have to keep going, because it ain't over till you give up. Is that
you don't fail until you give up.
Until you give up, right? So there you go. So but starting a business is not easy, never easy, and I think in today's environment it's probably even harder than it was back then when I did it the first time around. The coaching part of it, there have been times when I've been talking to someone in a professional coaching capacity, and I look back when I think about my review and I reflect on the session and make my notes. I think, okay, so actually you could have done this better, or you could have, learn from every single session. You could have done something different here, added some more, given them some more value, asked a different question, led in a different way, and you always look back on those sessions and think, but you learn from them. We don't all, we're never born knowing how to walk and how to talk, all that stuff, do we? So we just have to and then you learn, and I actually do contact people between sessions by text or voice message, and if I think of something, I'll let them know, or I'll invite them to have a quick chat, or an update, all that sort of things. You can learn from that.
Nice. I like the talking about going back and reviewing what you could have done better and what have you, and it kind of feeds into what we've talked about previously, having that growth mindset of continuous learning and continuous improvement, which is so important for people on any level, no matter what they're doing, really. So what are some of your biggest wins as a coach and in your business?
Okay, I can tell you a little story about one of my clients.
Go on then, I'll let you.
All right. Okay,
Left me in charge.
You're always in charge.
Okay.
Oh, stop it! You know it. Yeah. So I've got this client who she's she's working so much in quite a senior position, in a role that she has people that look, that report to her, and it's an organization that expects people to go above and beyond. So, one of those places where like clocking off time is 5 o'clock and everybody's still there at 6 because nobody wants to be the first to leave. And then it impacts on the family life. And obviously if you're in a leader position, you can't be that first person to leave, or that's the perception. So her work and home balance was out of kilt, and she was giving herself no time, nothing for herself. Everything was work and family. So in the initial conversation, the frustration came up about that. And the frustration was first that work was infringing on family. And how could we get the same amount of productivity, but also free up some time? So asked lots of questions, did lots of talking, lots of, we talked about, see, I'm a details girl. So, and that's why, clarity is part of my coaching. I mean, oh, you're laughing because
Can confirm this, yes. Oh, grammar police. Get the red pen out.
Yeah. So I like to build a picture with all of the aspects of somebody's life. So we talked about all of that, what she does in the world. Well, how was that role? How can we, change things within the role? How can she make some changes and small changes, and I rarely advocate slice and move on, unless it's called for, but mostly it's a case of making small changes regularly over a period of time to achieve a bigger outcome. And she's good because we get message quite regularly where just small things that we've talked about in the previous session. She'll say, I've done that. And, you know, she doesn't have to wait till the following week to tell me, or it's not actually, we don't do it weekly, a bit longer, to tell me I've done this. And let's start the next step, the next step, the next step. And so slowly the balance is going like, you can't see that, can you? Sorry, I know we're on audio and not on video, right? So the scales are tipping. You don't need a
We're
visual.
on both, just to confirm, so you can still
Okay,
do that. just explain.
Yeah, so it's really lovely to see how somebody's life is just getting better, and it's impacting their family, and it's impacting their just well-being just from coaching. So yeah, that's a win as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. I think that's whenever you ask a lot of coaches what's their biggest wins, it's not actually their biggest win, it's someone else's, but they've just helped facilitate that for them. I think that kind of says a lot about coaches, really, and how they view things. And, you know, people, we do come from it just from a place of wanting to kind of help people.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, their success is your success, really. You know, we wouldn't do it if we didn't find any satisfaction. And because obviously, you know, if they're doing well, we're gaining something as well. There is something in it for us because we get a sense of satisfaction. We get a sense of feeling good about ourselves because we've done something good for somebody else. So yeah, we do get a benefit from it as well. But obviously, bottom line is their success, our success, always get a love it.
Yeah. Excellent. So why don't you tell people what you've got going on now?
I thought you never asked. Oh, well, I've got a couple of things going on. So at the moment, I've created it's a freebie, so available to anyone who wants it. It's called a 3-step jumpstart to transform your life, and it's basically just working through a series of questions about your mindset, your body, and your spirit. And what it aims to do is lift you and make you think about what you want in the future. And it's not just wishing, hoping, and praying. You know, that you're thinking about what you want in the future, and what steps do you do now for your future you. And it is, you know, it's not going to take you ages. It's not like a massive long course. It's 3 steps. First step is all about where you are now, assessing where you are in terms of your mind, your mindset, in terms of your body. So, for example, a mindset question might be, and I've written it down so I get it right. What do you believe about yourself when you think about trying something new? So, you know, you're activating your thought processes in your brain, and you might never have actually thought about this before in such a way that you've got a new if somebody's asked you to do something that you haven't done before, you know, how does that make you feel? How positive are you that you can do it? Where's your belief, your self-belief in all of that? Then there's questions around your body, you know, how much does your body do what you want it to do? So another question you may, there's 3 in each section. Another question you may not really think about because you just take it for granted that your body's just, you wake up, you do your stuff, you go on it and everything else. But have you ever stopped to think about, well, actually, hold on a second, I'm not doing this as well as I could, or I am doing this as well as I could. So that's one of the body questions. And then we go into the spirit, which, you know, this is where all the fun happens, if you like. So we start with basics like how contented do you feel? But also it goes into saying, well, how willing are you to make changes to achieve what you want? So I think a big premise and starting point in coaching, and you say it, and I've had it said to me when I've spoken to other coaches who wanted to coach me, or, you know, how willing are you to make those changes? And a lot of people, you know, are not always that ready. So there's no point saying, do this, do this, do this. Oh yeah, you've got this big, you know, you've got this big image of visualization of what you want to be, and but they're not ready to make any changes. So I think that's an important point to address early on in any coaching. So then we go on to step 2, my favorite bit, which is I've recorded an audio visualization that you can just pop on. It's 10 minutes. listen, relax, listen, take yourself into some quiet space, listen to the instructions, and let your mind be free and enjoy the process. And then, you can listen to it once or twice, make some notes. There are some guided questions that will help you after you've listened and gone through that sort of really peaceful but forward thinking about your future you visualization. And then step 3 is about what needs to happen, breaking down what needs to happen to get you to that. You've just spent time, you spent time of your day thinking about what you want to be, where you want to be, and how your future life could be. And now you need to think about how to make that happen. Because, like I say, that, you can wish, hope, pray, all the rest of it, but you need to have thoughts about how and really think about implementing. So that is a little freebie that's available right now. You can get it through any of my socials. Just send me a DM, email, phone, text, whatever, and I can send it out to you straight away. So that's there. And if you do that and you enjoy it, we can go a little bit further. So at the moment, I am just in the process of releasing a group program. So it's a 4-week group program, and it builds on what the 3-step jumpstart to transform your life has already started you doing. So it builds on that. So it's about self-awareness, and it's about we go into deeper techniques to think, how self-aware are you? How positive are you? What are the things that you really, really want? And the big question, we talk, there's some activities that are around discovering your why. Now, the more I learn about coaching, the more I experience coaching, the more involved I get in coaching, the more I realize that everything so far is all about your reason why. So why you do things. And rarely, I'd never even thought about it before I discovered coaching. So in 50-something odd years, I never thought about my reasons for doing things. So this group coaching program will help you address why you do things. And it's aimed at women over 40. It's aimed at women who are, really thinking about their futures and who want to make those futures as empowered and strong and positive as they can be. A lot of women up until this point, they've been working on other people's dreams. Yeah, husbands, children's, families, whatever. They've been supporting everybody else's dream, and now with this bit of self-awareness, self-discovery, bit of working on your reasons why and your dreams, you put into place structures that mean that you're now working on your own dreams, which is great. And if I may, just a little bit about how I've got to this space and why I'm focusing on this in my life at the moment.
No, we're done. Why are you asking?
Well, because,
you could have just carried on talking and just got into it.
I realised I'm so excited about my offer here. My jumpstart, 3-step jumpstart about the group. I've forgotten to tell you the reason why I'm doing it. Here I am talking about why. I'm actually forgotten to tell you. So basically, I've gone through a transformation myself in the last sort of 6-8 months now, and what happened was through my life, I'm the youngest of three children, and my brother and sister are very capable, strong individuals. So they've protected me from a lot of the nitty-gritty of life in a lot of ways, and I haven't really had to do a lot of difficult things really in that way. And so I've kind of put my head in the sand when things get difficult. I do that, yeah, and I realized that. But what happened is I turned 50. And a few years on, I was looking, and the last couple of years have been difficult years for my parents in terms of their health. And I've seen how health can really, debilitate your life. And I realized that some of the things that are afflicting them are hereditary, and things like diabetes, things like heart disease. And I got to a point where I was carrying a little bit too much weight. I knew that I I got a blood test reading which showed that I was on the edge of diabetes, which terrified the bejeebies out of me. And I thought, right, I need to do something because, it's in my control and nobody else is going to do it for me. So the doctor said to me, look, we can give you a diagnosis of diabetes on this score. But that's where I was at. And I just got really. And I knew that, obviously I know a little bit about it because I've been growing up around it. So I said, look, just give me 6 months, just give me some time to get that score down, and so that's why I thought, right, it's time to get real, time to grow up about your health and take some responsibility, so I changed my lifestyle. I researched good for me foods, bad for me foods, and and food is I don't know, they say, don't they, 80% of your body,
Yes.
how you end up being is your food, and it's 20% is your exercise and energy exertion and all something. So the food is the biggest thing. So I started there and I transformed how I eat. Basically, I just sort of thought, right, I'm only going for real foods. So anything that comes in a packet, no. And knowing the reason, and I've struggled with my weight up and down all my adult life. I've always wanted to lose, quite a few pounds, and then I lose them, and then I put them back on, and then I lose them, and I put them back on. So I'm a yo-yo classic. And I realized that this time is different because I figured out the reason why I needed to do it, and the reason why I needed to lose some weight, the reason why I needed to get healthy, put healthy things inside my body, was because I needed to protect myself from possible future ailments that was staring me in the face. So I discovered my why, and it made everything easier. Oh my God, Ian, like things, whereas in the past I thought, oh my God, I've got to stick to this diet. I can only eat this, I can only eat that. I was flying because in my head I thought, oh yeah, I know why I'm doing it now. And it became so easy to eat real food. It became so easy to not eat half a packet of chocolate biscuits, which was a very nice thing to do in the past. But now I just don't even want to do it. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. It's not because of anything else except for that knowing the reason why I'm doing it. So I thought, well, gosh, if I can flip things just by discovering why, then I can share that with people and I can help them flip things just by discovering their why and making the changes that they want to make a lot easier to make because they know why they want to do it. And it means something to them. And as soon as something means something to you, it really, really deep down really means something. My God, the motivation, the creativity. I've lost weight, I've lost, 2 stones. And as a byproduct, not as a, for reason for doing it. And I feel so much energy. I'm feeling like I'm future proofing myself. And I figured that other people can figure out what they want, why they want it. Really, really, the changes will be easier. Think about that. Do you think?
It's kind of similar to what I take my clients through as well. So the way I touch on it is there's some kind of pain that you're going through now. That pain is enough to push you so far, but then you need something else to pull you the rest of the way, and that is that why. So what is your purpose? What is your purpose for being? Whatever that is to you, and it's different for everybody, that will pull you the rest of the way. So that pain of where you are now, your current situation, if you're looking for a coach, it's obviously bad enough to make you want to get better. So you've got that pain that's going to drive you so far, but you do need that why to pull you the rest of the way. I love it, and that's kind of like the foundation of everything I go through as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen you in action. It's amazing. That, and also remember that pain, because it is coaching and not therapy as well. That pain isn't necessarily always a huge thing. It might just be a desire for change.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually you're all right. You're moseying along and everything's fine. But that you've got a desire for change, but you don't really quite know why you want to change or what that reason is, and then obviously you move on to the how. So yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when's this program coming out then?
Okay, so it will be available in the first cohort from the end of July. Get in touch. I'll give you dates and details. It will be £29, and yeah, let's do this.
Nice, excellent. I think we'll wrap it up there, which is a nice place. So thank you, Dee. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for letting me interview you for today's episode.
Well, thank you for listening to me chewing off your ear for the last minutes.
Used to it now.
Yeah.
Just another day in the life of Ian, getting his ear chewed off.
Wonderful. By the way, just because
Woe
Ian's
is me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, jump on my website if you want to learn more about my story, and you can download the 3-step jumpstart from there. There is also an ebook on there if you feel like having a little fun with that as well too. Go for it.
Excellent. Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes, so people check them out. And on next week's episode, we're talking about the power of vulnerability in coaching, which is a really good episode. So make sure you tune in. And that, folks, is that. So remember,
be there.
Be there.
Be
Be naked.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.